Good evening and welcome to The Tracy Show. On August 28th, it marked the 70th anniversary of the death of Emmett Till. It was a national day of remembrance. Let's talk about it.
This weekend, people from around the world came together in Mississippi to mark 70 years since the murder of Emmett Till. In late August of 1955, Till and his cousin Reverend Wheeler Parker Jr. took the train from Chicago to Mississippi. What happened next is a dark chapter in American history. A mob of racists lynched and shot the 14-year-old. This past week, the 86-year-old Reverend, who is the only living witness to Till's kidnapping, took the very same train ride to Mississippi, and our Steve Osinsami and team were there with the Reverend as he relived that painful and deeply personal journey.
My goal in my life journey is to help people see the light about love and not hate. I've been set free from hate. And once you've been set free, you want to experience it.
70 years ago, on August 28th, 1955, the brutal murder of Emmett Till shocked the nation and became a catalyst for the civil rights movement. A 14-year-old black boy from Chicago, Till was visiting family in Money, Mississippi, when word got out that he had flirted with a white woman, Carolyn Bryant, at her family's local store. Soon after, he was abducted, tortured, and shot by Bryant's husband, Roy. His disfigured body was discovered in the Tallahatchie River, weighed down by a cotton gin fan. His mother, Mamie Till Mobley, insisted on an open casket funeral so the world could see what had been done to her son. The images of his mutilated face ignited national outrage, but despite overwhelming evidence, an all-white jury acquitted his murderers. Before I go on with the story, let me tell you what was done to Emmett Till. I will say trigger warning, and if there are any children in the room, you might not want them to hear this. After Till and his cousins left the store, the accuser's husband, Roy Bryant, returned to town and was enraged that a black boy had spoken to his wife in such a way. Bryant and his half-brother, J.W. Millen, searched for Till for 4 days after the incident at the store. They went to the home of his great-uncle, Moses Wright, and against his pleas, forced his teenage nephew into the car. After having Till in their custody, they beat him senseless. Then they reportedly made him carry a 75-pound cotton gin fan to the bank of the Tallahatchie River, where the two gouged out his eyes, pow-powed him in the head, and tied him by the neck to the apparatus using barbed wire before throwing him into the river. This is a picture of the actual barn that Emmett was placed in. Till's corpse was discovered 3 days later. His body was so mutilated that Wright was unable to recognize his nephew. He identified the corpse by an initialed ring. After hearing the news of her son's murder, instead of letting authorities quickly and silently get rid of the body, Till Mobley asked for him to be sent back to Chicago. When she arrived at the train station to pick her only son's remains, the woman was outraged to see her son's ear severed, his teeth missing, and his eye hanging out of the socket. In an act that would change the world, Till Mobley requested an open casket at his funeral and instructed the mortician not to touch up the boy's face. 50,000 people are reported to have gone to Till's funeral. With permission from his mother, Jet magazine ran photos of his body in the coffin in the article. Quote, "Nation horrified by murder of kidnapped Chicago youth. Till Mobley wanted people across America to see what two white men in Mississippi did to her son." Nearly 2 weeks after the funeral, Milan and Roy Bryant faced trial in Summer. Mississippi Wright identified the defendant as Till's Killers in the segregated courthouse. An all-white jury, however, found them not guilty after less than an hour of deliberation on September 23rd. The murder of Emmett Till was the catalyst for the civil rights movement in December of that year. The Montgomery bus boycott began in Alabama. In January of 1956, Milam and Bryant confessed during an interview with Look to Killing Till, according to the article, the shocking story of approved Killing in Mississippi. The pair had planned to only beat the teen, but unalived him when he showed no fear. The U.S. Justice Department reopened the case in 2004, and the FBI exhumed Till's body for an autopsy. In 2005, there were no indictments, and no one had been convicted of his murder. In the decades since, Till's death remains a pivotal moment in American history. Everything that took place is a symbol of both the horrors of racial violence and resilience of the civil rights movement today. Today, those who wish to pay tribute to his memory and reflect on his legacy can visit several significant sites in Greenwood, Mississippi, and the surrounding areas of the Delta, namely Summer, which is in Tallahatchie County. These historical markers and milestones help ensure that Till's story is never forgotten. Emmett Till statue at Greenwood's Rail Spike Park. Greenwood's Rail Spike Park downtown is home to a larger-than-life 9-foot bronze statue dedicated to Emmett Till that was unveiled in 2022. The Greenwood Rail Spike Park stretches the old C&C Railroad right-of-way adjacent to Johnson Street from Lamar Street to the Highway 82 bypass. The park has transformed the abandoned corridor into a multi-purpose path for bicycles and pedestrians. While Money, Mississippi was the state of the incident and abduction, Greenwood and nearby Sumner, Mississippi serve as essential locations in the Till story. Visitors today can explore several places that preserve the memory of Till and the impact his murder had on the civil rights movement. Wright Thompson's New York Times best-selling book, The Barn, explores the lingering presence of Till's murder in the Mississippi Delta. Thompson delves into the personal and historical weight the events carry in the region, reflecting on how the past continues to shape the present, especially in the Delta. The book not only highlights all the landmarks mentioned above, but also the land plots, fields, and back roads that were silent witnesses to Till's murder. Thompson's book explains that Till's murder is not confined to the history books, but is an event embedded in the Mississippi landscape. The barn, where Till was terribly tortured, compares to, as Thompson says, quote, as close as America has to Auschwitz. By acknowledging these physical remnants of the past, visitors can better understand the weight of Till's murder and the significance of keeping his story and spirit alive. No one was found guilty for the murder of Emmett Till. In 1955, Roy Bryant and J.W. Milam were acquitted by an all-white jury, despite later confessing to the crime in a magazine interview. The Department of Justice reopened the case to investigate potential other involved parties, but ultimately closed the reinvestigation without further prosecution due to expired statutes of limitations for federal civil rights violations. Carolyn Dunham, the white woman whose accusations led to Emmett Till's murder in the year 2007, admitted that she lied in an interview. And I quote from her memoirs, "Nothing that boy did could have ever have justified what was done to him." Don't forget to like, share, please share this story, comment, and please subscribe. And don't let our history be erased. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening.